A very warm welcome to everyone on behalf of India FinTech Forum. Today we have with us Ms. Urvi Babla, who is the co-founder of TrakInvest. She was previously associated with companies such as Religare Securities, ICICI Bank, and you're one of the few women entrepreneurs in this fintech industry. So my first question would be, what was the feeling when you left Religare Securities? Was it a risky decision? And for future budding entrepreneurs coming into this space, what advice would you give them?
Okay, so feeling when I left Religare Securities, honestly, completely freaked out, scared, because obviously that was the first time that I was jumping into a startup. I always wanted to do something as a startup, but I was looking at startups that are established and interviewing with them. But this is something that is starting with two other partners as a co-founder, where we don't have a team, we don't have anybody. We just have two people. And we have to set up the entire operations, the office, and also obviously it is, it was freaky at first, but I had managed the risk in a way that we had done pilot testing before I joined the startup to see if the product makes sense in the market, can it be monetized, and we had a few ideas on how to grow the business. And so it was a calculated risk, I would say, and that's how I took the plunge.
That's great. So now, what's the core vision behind TrakInvest?
So TrakInvest as a company, the vision has evolved a lot during the years, because whenever you start a startup, there are certain things that you keep in mind, which is you have certain ideas as a founder that you want to do a few things, but your customer tells you certain things. Sometimes they match with your ideas, sometimes they don't. So the startups also are, obviously any business is created for the purpose of creating money, and you have to give products that your customer likes. And so we have evolved a lot from where we started. We started with a vision of creating a platform that helps educate and brings more consumers to the stock market. So I have worked in stock markets prior and all securities firms for about 12, 13 years before I actually started TrakInvest. So I know the pain of the retail, consumer who starts trading on stock markets first time, loses money, ends up losing this asset class forever. So was an educational initiative where we started with the idea that we will train, and we'll be able to provide a platform that will help the new to market investors to actually start trading in a virtual risk-free environment. So that was the vision with which we started. And when after we started, we had twofold ideas. We worked with certain corporates to train their new customers. So if there is a ICICI bank or an HDFC, if they want to train the new customers who have just opened their demat accounts but they don't know how to trade, this is a virtual platform that will give them a easy environment, a risk-free environment to start trading, and then they can trade in the real accounts that they've opened with those companies. We started there, but we soon evolved into, so that was when the fintech bit was in play. So at the beginning, we were doing fintech more, and we were doing a little bit of training and edtech, but fintech was a larger piece. But soon our customers told us that they wanted more of trainings from our side. They wanted edtech, they wanted certification programs, they wanted to learn about stock markets in a structured manner. And these are largely students who are really keen on entering the stock markets, but they're trying to crack the stock markets, but stock markets are complicated. They have many variables and they need experience and practice more than theory. So here we tried to make a platform then, and we evolved into a platform which was practical. Plus we added theory-led courses so that a user sort of ends up getting the full training and can practice for some time before he actually invests real money in the real stock markets. So that's how we have evolved now as a vision.
I think that's a great initiative. More than anything, training is something that's important.
Thank
So
you.
now I read on your website that it said that you want to bridge the gap between information and investment. So Can you tell us a little more as in what information you mean by that?
Yeah, so this is a great question. So this was one of the visions that we started with. This is information asymmetry, what we call, and information asymmetry is the idea that the people with access to information are able to make more money. So if you know today, because of your virtue of being close to the stock markets, because possibly you're working in a bank or you're working in the sector, you have an idea that the that so and so sector might rise. So say you're working in like an FMCG company, and you have an idea that the FMCG sector is doing well in the next 5 years, and you should buy the stocks of the company, right? You have certain access to information due to which you will pick up those stocks. But your friends who are probably working as artists or as painters, or something completely different, they do not have access to this information, but they are also earning a salary, and every individual wants to invest money. So investing as a life skill should be taught in colleges, actually, because we are taught many things, but we're not taught how to manage money. Everybody as a society who has these ideas on us that we have to make money, but nobody is teaching us how to invest our money. Investing also allows you to make your money, right? So you get a salary, you basically spend some of it, you save some of it. Savings has always been a big part of our culture. Investing is not yet a part of our culture, barring the few top 5% of the Indian population. A majority of the population does not end up investing their salary. They are saving it, they are adding those things and putting it in the bank account, but they can make that money work better if they invest it. So, they are not investing because they don't know how to. They're not taught in school. They tried stock markets because somebody sold them about stocks or mutual funds or bonds or whatever. They probably burnt their hands because they have no idea how it is. So they used real money. They lost real money. And then they said, okay, abhi investing karna hi nahi hai. Abhi sirf hum saving karenge. So they have lost an opportunity because they didn't approach it in the right way. So TrakInvest was built to cure this information asymmetry. Why? Because we brought in traders from all over the world. These traders trade on the platform. There are trends and top trends in stocks that are shown on the platform. So today, if you want that information, it's available to you. Whether you are an art student, an engineering student, a lawyer, a medical student, doesn't matter. Whichever field and wherever, whoever you are, you have access to top trending stocks that people are buying, the popular opinion, right? From that you start thinking, acha ye stock agar बढ़ रहा है या ज़्यादा लोग उसको ले रहे हैं, that means let me now go and research if there is any news in this stock. So then I go into the internet and I start researching. I find, oh, this stock is being bought because of so and so news in that company. And then I start getting a direction to start investing. So the information asymmetry, which exists only with a certain set of people, has now, we wanted to bring it across all colleges and schools, and across all students, and irrespective of background. So that is how and why we started the firm, and this is what we speak about when we talk about bridging that information gap.
Right. So now you have partnered with BML University to set up a full blockchain lab. So is this initiative somewhere in the direction of information, what you mentioned? And do you think this will help the society?
Yeah, it will help the society, definitely. But this was an offshoot of our finance program. So we had finance programs, and then we we ventured into the world of blockchain. We started exploring it because we are headquartered at Singapore, and the company is registered out of Singapore, and blockchain technology, we have access to it because the senior most founder in our team, Bobby Bhatia, he he's on the board of a lot of blockchain companies. So we moved our platform to blockchain, and in that process we learned the blockchain technology. We learned how to do it, and each of us had to do it. And once we started doing that, we got so we also had built parallelly university partnerships where we were running all these finance programs and finance courses. So we started getting calls for doing blockchain courses, and that's how we ventured into blockchain courses. But now our philosophy as a company is to give not only theory but theory plus practical. That's a philosophy. So now in finance, our practical is our platform TrackInvest, which you have seen, which is stock market trading platform. In blockchain, our practical is the labs that we have where people can actually code, and that is the initiative that is with BML Munjal, where they have taken the lab for their class of students, where they will learn blockchain theory wise, also with practical, and there is a placement offered with this. So we do the entire, so we, along with information gap, we also evolved to bridging the employability gap, which is that now we have students who have taken our courses, whether it's finance or blockchain, they're trained in that subject. Some of them come to us and say, we want jobs, can you give us jobs? So then we partner with the corporates, and then we place these students. So the initiative with BML Munjal, the students get trained on the subject, and then they get also placed. So that's how it is. We have also another initiative, similar initiative with Danan Sagar University in Bangalore, where 85 students of this class right now, they just finished the blockchain course, and they have gotten placed across blockchain companies across the world, from Singapore and from UK and from India. So this is the kind of stuff that we're trying to do, where we now have evolved into a company that if you are talented as a student, irrespective of your background, if you are talented, then we will provide the opportunity. So we connect talent to opportunity. So that's how we are evolving.
I think that's great. I think it's an end-to-end process, where you start from the beginning and you reach an end point also. It's not midway where it's just training and then you're on your own. I think
Yes.
that's pretty great.
Thank you.
So now your headquarters are in Singapore, and out of what I've understood is that TrackInvest mostly focuses on international markets and blockchain, like cryptocurrency, etc. So are Indian markets a part of your future plan coming up someday?
No, absolutely. So India is a big market, and we have an office in Bangalore also, and we have an office in Singapore. In India, we have partnered with about 200 universities now, so that's pretty a large number. And from Singapore, we work across the Asia region, so Thailand, Hong Kong, and the Middle East. No, India is certainly a part of the whole piece, because in India there is a lot of talent that's available, and we can place them in jobs within India. And if it's in blockchain, they can go even outside India, because there's a lot of work happening in blockchain outside India, more work outside India than in India.
Mhm.
So that's the idea.
Okay. So now, when we talk about blockchain, we understand there's a lot of buzz regarding government policies, etc. Like there were a few pros and cons of how they deal with it. So what's your take on it? And has that it hit your business, or has that helped you in flourishing in India?
So the government policies regarding blockchain, I think government is still trying to figure out in India, whereas
Yeah.
governments outside India, a lot of them have figured out. Switzerland, Japan, Korea, Australia have started doing things or projects in blockchain. Our Indian government is also doing projects on blockchain, and there's a start. I think 14 Indian states in India are doing. The state governments are doing projects, which is a great thing. Regarding to cryptocurrency, that's a different subject altogether. Cryptocurrency and blockchain are often mixed together, but
Yeah.
blockchain is a technology which can be used, in a very positive way to change businesses and to solve business problems. Cryptocurrency is a digital currency that has a lot of speculation, needs a lot of regulation and rules, and I think obviously the government of India has to be has to ensure that the economy or the ecosystem is safe for everybody. And digital currency, people don't understand. So until there is education, until there is proper, end-to-end study by different parties or different stakeholders that are involved in this whole process, like the RBI, there is different units of cybersecurity. There are different stakeholders in the government that need to study this and study the impact of cryptocurrency and actually weigh it against the benefits. So right now in India, the benefits are lesser than the actual implementation. So it's for India, because India is still a largely cash economy and we're still moving to digital economy. So cryptocurrency is the next level. But we are getting there. I think that once we have the proper rules in place, that is how we should proceed. So I don't think that what we are doing is wrong in any way. I think it has to be done this way. Otherwise, the negative impacts of cryptocurrency will outweigh, and again, we'll have a set of customers who will not be able to enjoy the benefits that the technology can offer, or the digital currency can offer.
Correct. So now EdTech is something that's relatively new. I think it's come up more during the pandemic. So, like you mentioned earlier, you were always a more fintech based company, and now you've moved towards EdTech. So, apart from your customers asking for it, what else was the aim behind it? And now, what are your future plans? Like, do you want to flourish more in EdTech, or are you back to fintech?
I think the aim why we started it is to create jobs, to bring about a change, and we saw a huge opportunity there, both socially and economically. So of course we can make money out of it, but we are also creating impact. So this is something that really resonates with each of us, because having been in the corporate side, we have always spent money, but social impact has been lesser of a story. In this kind of a business, we have created, we have an opportunity here to actually make a difference to the lives of people whom we are placing. So these kids are taken from tier 2, tier 3 universities, and not the top universities where the placement is ensured. The other universities where placement can be a challenge and the talent still exists. So we take those and we connect them to corporates, and we give them opportunity in the cities. And that's how the life of the person who is in a tier 2 city, is changes when he moves to a bigger city, and he sort of, he gets a great start to his career, he or she. So that is where we come in, and that is what drives us, and that's how we want to build the business also ahead.
Okay. So now talking about the pandemic that's taken over everyone's lives. So are there any few pros and cons of the pandemic that TrakInvest has faced? And are there any measures you've taken to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 on TrakInvest?
Okay. Pros and cons. See, the pandemic is definitely for an tech business, it's a tailwind, along with the national education policy, which has now extreme
Yeah.
focus on vocational education, practical skilling, which is what we do. So these are the tailwinds for sure. The con, I think, is when we interact with the students and the faculty now, we are seeing that they have digital fatigue, because their online classes are also happening during the day, and there's only so much that you can do online. You could probably sit for 2 hours or 3 hours in a lecture in a real classroom, but online you can't do a 2 hour or 3 hour lecture. You have to break it down to half an hour or 1 hour. So these things are sort of driving people a little off the thing. But obviously, given that there's no choice, people across the country are going to experiment. But as an entrepreneur, or as on this side who's trying to sell these solutions, I would say that we should be a little more empathetic to their needs, and possibly try to find innovative ways in how we could change our training or change our skilling mechanisms, maybe create different kinds of sessions. And that's something I think we all need to explore, on how we could make it as fun and exciting as it would have been if they were in a classroom. So
Yeah.
that's how I'm going to do that.
I think you have to work on making it more engaging, because when they were physically present, it would make a huge difference as compared to what's
Absolutely,
online. Right?
absolutely. Engagement, also more like how do we sort of give them more attention, solve their problems, how do we understand? Because now when I'm giving a session on YouTube, if I have 100 students, I really can't have them on video. So how do I really understand if the class is actually getting what I'm saying? So these are some of the challenges that we face, but I think we try in our own small ways, and small micro innovations that we do, where we can make the whole thing very exciting, so that the students sort of enjoy at the end of the day. See, learning is a process, but we have to enjoy it also. Otherwise, it's just going to become tiring. It's going to be one other mode, and in a digital environment, it's very easy for them to just keep the screen on and just move away from the screen. So how do we ensure that they have we have their attention? Because with digital, definitely the attention span is going to reduce. So how do we have their attention, and how do we make it more engaging? So
I think being a student, I highly agree to what you're saying. It's
I'm sure.
definitely true.
Yeah.
So now, what's the new normal like for TrakInvest? Like before, everyone might be in office. Now, how do you think your employees are, working in the new normal? What would you like?
Yeah, so I think in the new normal, what we have done is we've put in certain processes where the employee sort of has to, there's a certain communication challenges that happen. So when we were in office, it is easy to communicate, everybody's next to each other. Now we have to change our style of communication. There has to be a process put to it. Both ways, even we have to change and they also have to change in terms of reporting or what's happening. So we've put in those kind of processes. We have made them much more accountable in their task. Anyway, in a startup, as compared to big corporate, usually each employee is handling 2 to 3 roles. But here they are accountable in a way in terms of reporting also, and they are, they are free to their timelines and the way they work is left up to them, provided the results are coming in time. So these are the things that we've sort of ensured that this happens. And if people, and there are some guidelines that we've put in place, and if that doesn't, if those guidelines are not met, then we are sort of asking people to revisit and to think how they could do their roles better, how could they contribute better. So I think that it's been a challenge, but remote working is something that we're all figuring out. We've still not yet started going to offices, just because, I mean, obviously lockdowns and everything's are over, but we are still trying to be safe, and possibly till the end of the year, we are not looking at doing anything or stepping outside.
Okay. So now my last question would be, what would you like to tell other fintech and edtech entrepreneurs who are in this space? They might be facing a lot of issues during COVID because of various reasons. So what is the one advice, a piece of advice you would like to give them?
Um, well, I think issues. I think it's all about mental strength, right? As an entrepreneur, you already need to have a higher mental strength as compared to where when you were working in a fixed kind of routine environment, a predictable environment. Entrepreneurship itself is very unpredictable, and COVID has added a huge variable to that unpredictability. And I think it is just a question of mental strength, of how we can, just be conscious about the fact that that is what is required, patience is required, and how we can sort of draw boundaries. Because now, from working from home, what's happening is there's no line when the work finishes.
Right.
So people are on meetings at 9 in the night, 10 in the night. Well, so that is where the challenge is, because we need to be able to draw boundaries, especially as entrepreneurs, because we need to be there for our team and we cannot risk burning out. So
Correct.
I think following that discipline is something that we should be just conscious about, and we may tend to forget, because there is no line to separate the office and home work
Yeah.
environment anymore. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Great. So I think I had a wonderful time talking to you. I think I'm inspired. I hope I become an entrepreneur soon.
Awesome.
And great. I had a great time, and I hope you enjoyed as well. And yeah, thank you so much for giving us your valuable time. I'm sure you'll have a busy day ahead. So I hope you have a great weekend, a weekend coming ahead. So yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Nidhi. It was a pleasure talking to you. Okay,
Yeah.
bye bye.
Bye. Take care.